Okay, so basically what I'm going to show you today is how to create a new theme in Drupal. And this is going to be done in Drupal 7. And this is the website right here that I am going to be recreating in Drupal. Right now this is, I think it's a WordPress theme, something that looks probably customized, certain things, but so yeah, I'm going to be moving this whole theme into Drupal and having it work with the Drupal menu, the Drupal content area, the sidebar, those kind of things. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So the steps that we're going to take are, I'm first going to mock this up in Photoshop. I'm just kind of going to print screen it, maybe recreate a few different areas in Photoshop so that we can later use them. I'm going to then create a new theme on Drupal. I'm going to call that theme DBD Pro. So that's going to be our DBD Pro theme for DBD Professional. For, this could be a good theme for professionals, somebody like a CPA or some type of financial type service, something along those lines. Then we're going to actually create the HTML in the page.tpl, and then we're going to create the CSS. And then this tutorial, I'm not going to show you how to do this jQuery slideshow right here, but in another tutorial, I will show you how to actually create this slideshow and make this work. So with that, let's jump in and get started. So we're going to first do a Photoshop mockup. So if I actually print screen this, which I just did, hit the print screen key on my keyboard, and then I go over to Photoshop, create a new document, and I paste it in. So here is kind of what their site is right now. And just to kind of give you an idea of how things will work, I just kind of, the first thing I do is I come here and I look at the site and I kind of look at which elements I have and how I'm going to slice this up and how I'm going to create it in HTML. We have kind of a main header area here. You can see this extends the full width of the browser. And then you have this next area, this body area with this, it's kind of got a tannish gradient right here. This extends the full width also. But then inside of here now you have another area, content type area, where this, you can see I'm using this marquee tool. It actually looks like this is about 960 pixels, I think. So yeah, it's probably about that. If you see right here, over here, 960. So that's pretty much the width that they're using, and they center this inside of this other body area. And then if I were to go down, I'll extend this a little bit. So image canvas size, make this a little bit bigger so we can kind of see the rest of the website. So I'm going to paste in now the bottom area right here, and it's going to look something like this. So okay, so if I just delete this just so you can see. So we actually then have this. So if you continue down the site, you have this area, which is kind of like a pre-footer area. So they have these logos here. So this, in Drupal, this is just going to be a block area. But so I'm going to create this. This is also full width. And then in here you have this one, which is just going to be same width as everything else. And then same with the footer. You have full width here, extends all the way, and then you have this area in here that only goes 960 pixels. So the way this is going to be set up then is you have your header. I'm going to actually create, when I'm doing my HTML, I'm going to create a div like this for the main header. So this will be one of my divs. You can see I kind of grayed it out. But then I'm also going to create another div inside of it that's just going to be this width, which will be about 960 pixels. So I'm going to have two divs here. I'm going to have a wrap one. So this div right here is going to be, we'll probably call it header wrap. So that's what I'm going to call one of my divs, except in lowercase. If I can do one time. So yeah. So header wrap. So that's going to be the class for this one. This one in here is going to be header. And then here I'm going to for the body area. Okay, sorry about that. Let me get this. Okay, I don't know why this happened, or okay, there we go. So 2 divs, header, wrap, header. The next area is going to be the body area. So this whole area is now body, what I'm going to do. So yeah, this will be body. And then inside the body, we're also going to have another div like so. And this is going to be just, so this is going to be inside the body as the body div. So once again, coming over here, this is going to be body wrap. And just so you know, the reason I'm doing 2 divs, one wrap and one regular, is because in order to center things with CSS, you can't just do one div. Like, I can't just do just a body and then have that extend the full thing but also be centered. I need to use 2 different divs. So one of them is going to be the full width background part, but the other is just going to be the centered part. And then everything inside is going to be part of this main body one that's centered. So kind of just something so you know. So that's why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. So that's that, and then we're going to have here a bring this down. So this right here is going to be another one, and then obviously the footer is going to be another one. That's going to be the full width, and you should kind of get the idea of what's going on here. And then obviously both of these copy, I would come over, and they're both going to also have another kind of smaller area in there like that. So, and then here you're going to have, so this one would probably be called something like content footer wrap. This one, probably going to call it something like that. This one would be content footer, just regular, no wrap. This one over here is going to be footer wrap, obviously, and this one just footer over there. And actually, I'm going to call this one not content footer, but content bottom, I think, probably. And this one content bottom. Okay, and then also, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to, since I want this slideshow to possibly, this little guy right here, in the case that I would want it to extend the full width, which I think I might in certain cases, I might, I'm trying to think whether I should or not, keep it this fixed width, or if I want to actually create another wrapper just for the slideshow. And I think I'm going to, so what I would do actually, so wherever I have these body, and then, so these 2 guys right here, so I'm actually going to pull these down. So I'm going to make the body actually start here. So, okay, so the body is now going to be this area. I'm going to pull this now up to where this area is going to be what I'm going to call the slideshow. So this, you can see here. Okay, so this is now its own little area that I'm going to do to where we're going to have, I'll call this slide show wrap, and then slideshow. Okay, so this is probably how I'm going to mark up my HTML for now, for the most part. So this should kind of give you an idea of what's going on here. We're going to do the header, and then have it centered in here in the header class. The slideshow wrap, have it centered with the slideshow, but with also the possibility of not centering it, to where I could have the slideshow if I wanted to in certain cases. Right here, in certain cases I might want to have it extend the full width. So I want to have the ability to do it either way, but right now I'm going to keep it the centered with a fixed width. So then we're going to have the body wrap, the body, so this is the body area, all this stuff. And then here we have content bottom wrap, content bottom, footer wrap, footer. So that's kind of this stuff. And then once in the body, we could break it down a little bit more, where we're going to, it's just a basic 2-column layout. So we're going to have here, which I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call it, but here's going to be probably going to be called content or page or something like that. And then this one's going to be called sidebar probably. So we have that one and that one. So these are 2 more sections that I'm going to have. So that one is going to be this sidebar obviously, and then the content section. So that's kind of going to show you the way it's going to work. So hopefully that makes sense. And with that, we're going to now start creating the theme so that we can then, let me save this real quick, Photoshop, dbdpro.psd. So we're going to actually now jump over to my FTP program, and I'm going to create a theme on my Drupal. So I have actually Drupal installed here. As you can see, it's in my public HTML folder. Here's my main Drupal files right here. So if you go to sites, all, themes, okay, so then these are the themes I have. I'm actually just going to start with the current theme, a theme that I already have, and then I'm just going to tweak it. So I'm going to take this DBD shadow theme and copy it over to my local computer. And while that's copying, I'm going to show you that we also have this. This is a site that I've already installed that we're going to be theming. So right now you can see it's on the default Drupal 7 Bartik theme. I'm going to be creating my own theme. So I'm going to basically be putting it on this theme that I'm going to create right now. So you can see I have the content already built out. This is the home page. Here's another page with content, has an image in here. So it's just kind of got some basic stuff right now. We got the menu, and it's built out in Drupal the way it should be for the most part. So I'm now going to skin this with the new theme. Okay, so now that we got this copied over, I'm going to change this name from DBD Shadow to DBD Pro, since this is what the new theme is going to be called. So you see these are all the old files that I have. I'm going to delete some of this stuff here, like these, and then I'm going to leave some of this stuff. And I'm going to delete these files for now. So boom, delete, yes. So delete all that. Okay, so empty files folder there. This is my template.css. This is carried over from the old site. I'm going to delete all that and just leave it with nothing right now. And then the page.tpl, I'm going to get to that in a second. html.tpl, this is just your basic HTML file. I think most of this is pretty much the same as the default one that comes with any Drupal theme. So I think this is pretty much how most html.tpls look. So I think I'm using the main default one. So this shouldn't really be too confusing. So there's that. And okay, the info file. So I need to rename this dbdpro.info. This is what actually defines the certain elements of this theme. So I'm going to call it dbdpro.info, dbdpro, and the description dbdpro. So, okay, it's part of the package dbd, because that's our company, dbd.net. So it's part of our dbd package version. It's a 7 version, works 7.x. It works with any version of 7, hopefully. The engine's PHP template, so all this stuff is just kind of basic. Most themes are going to have this. This basically just defines what it is, so it shows up when you actually go to look for the theme. Here is the style sheets. Rather than using the default style.css, I like to create my own called template.css. So that's what we're going to use, is template.css. So I have it defined here. And then for the regions now. So this is kind of important just to show you the regions are basically when I come back over into Photoshop. So regions are what hold the blocks in Photoshop. So things that are going to have blocks and content kind of move different places. So for instance, this slideshow right here, this is a region. So this whole area in this whole thing, the full width, this is going to be my slideshow region. This whole area, right in here, this is going to be my content region. This is going to be my sidebar region. So knowing this, I can kind of figure out how I want to do my regions. So one thing to notice, you always, I think, have to have a content region in Drupal. I think it's usually a good idea to have a help region also. So the content and help, I think you're always going to want to have for the most part. So then we also now have, so slideshow, this is carrying over from my old theme, because it also had a slideshow region. So I'm going to keep this slideshow region. Promo, now this region is, which I'm actually going to keep also, this is going to be a little region that I'm probably going to have up here that I'll later do, that'll have just a little bit of stuff above the content and the sidebar. So it is going to be its own little area. So I'm going to keep that. That's promo. Content header, I'm also going to keep. That would actually also, it might be, it may or may not be used for the promo, so I might be able to actually, yeah. I'm going to delete the promo, and I'm going to use content header the way I was going to use the promo. So content header will be this piece that's above content sidebar, and then I'm also going to have a piece here, which will be called content footer. So that's going to be there. And then I'm going to take out so right now I'm debating whether I should have both of these sidebars, sidebar left and sidebar right. Because in this theme, if I go over here, you can see there's only one sidebar the whole time. So if I go to another page, I still have this right sidebar and just my content here on the left. If I go to this page, content left, sidebar right. So it's all kind of the same, but you might want the ability at some point to actually bump this content over to about here. So you'd have a left sidebar, you'd have your content, and you'd have a right sidebar, or maybe you just want left sidebar and then just content, but you don't want to have a right sidebar. So I'm not quite sure if I just want to have a right sidebar or not. I'm going to keep it these two just in case I might later want to add a left sidebar. So I'm just going to leave it for now. Let's see, go back over to Photoshop. So this, I think this is pretty good. The one other piece is this content bottom. And based off how I already have something named content header and content footer, which I like, I'm going to rename this part to subfooter wrap, and then subfooter bottom, or subfooter, yeah. So I'm going to rename it, so I'm going to keep it like this. So then this block is going to be called, okay, so we're going to have that. So if I come over here and I add another one, it's going to be called sub footer. So this is going to be the one that's before the footer, sub underscore footer. That's why I'm going to name it like this. And then obviously we have this footer here. And normally this would be a block where I'd call it, block, I'd call it the region, I'd put footer. But I think in this theme, I'm not going to allow the ability to change blocks in here. I'm just going to have it all kind of hard coded. So I'm actually going to take that out and leave it, because that's not going to be needed. And also another thing to note for this sub footer, this is going to kind of be an optional region. So if somebody doesn't put anything in here, I'm going to basically collapse this so it doesn't show, and it just goes from here to here, and this goes away. So same thing also with slideshow. If there's no slideshow, I'm just going to take this whole body area and actually move it up. So this part would just collapse if nothing's in there. So it has the ability to expand, and same with this one. So they're both kind of expandable pieces. So this, I think, looks good for now. So let me just see. Yeah, so we'll try this out. So we'll close that now. See if there's anything else here to note on. So I'm going to edit this here in a second. I'm leaving this right now. And then the node, I'm going to leave this. I'm not going to open or show you how I'm doing that right now, but I'm going to copy these files over now to themes. Okay, so here's this. Now I'm going to copy it over. So I'm copying it to my sites all themes folder. So in a moment here, you will see, once it starts responding again, you'll see it come up when I go to appearance, since it's going to be in my actual, and you can see I'm having some transfer problems right now, so please hold on. Okay, I think it transferred everything. Let's see. I'm not sure. It's frozen right now. Hold on. Okay, yeah, so we got everything over there. So now if I go to appearance, you'll see I should have a new theme in here called DBD Pro. So I'm actually going to enable this and set it as the default theme. So now if I go back to the home page, I have this. It's using some old CSS and stuff from the page that was done before. So I'm actually going to, you know how I copied the DBD shadow theme? So it's basically still pulling some stuff from that in here. So now I'm going to show you how to edit this page.tpl, which is kind of the main, it's the main place where we're going to mark up this HTML in Drupal. So I have this page.tpl. When I open it up, okay, so I have a little bit of pre-done PHP right here, which I use a lot of the time for the way that I build sites. I'll explain this a little bit later. And then in here I actually have, this is the actual main HTML area right here. But this is carried over from the old theme, so I'm actually going to delete all this and just leave it like this for now. I'll actually delete it all. So there. This part I'm going to delete these two little pieces also. I'm going to delete this piece right now. Okay, so, and then I'm going to leave this because I will be using this probably. So now, next step is to start doing this HTML. So right now, since I have this saved, if I re-upload it, it's page.tpl. Once it uploads and I refresh, you'll see that it's not going to have, hopefully it's not going to have much more of this formatting. It should pretty much all go away. And by the way, some of this stuff, I believe these are some custom blocks that I have, like the Connect with Us, some of this stuff. And then you have website powered by dbd.net, which, by the way, is a pretty sweet company. You might want to check them out. So let's see now how we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to refresh it because I think it finished uploading. So let's see here. It is still loading, going kind of slow. Okay, so you see it just finished loading, but there's nothing here, which is good because I deleted everything. So back to the page.tpl. So when I do HTML, when I build a site, I usually, so we're going to obviously use divs to do this for the most part. I like to call my first one root, so that if I ever need to access something with CSS later, I can just go root, whatever, root, a, and then I could type some type of CSS here. So I always, if I need to kind of override something or get straight to something, I can always go back and start from root. So I like to start like that. Okay, so we got that. We're going to now, if you go back over to how we kind of mark this up in Photoshop, remember so we're going to have a header. This is going to be one row. Slideshow, that's number 2. Body, that's number 3. Subfooter, that's 4. Footer, that's 5. So I'm going to have 5 kind of main divs on top of each other. So let's do that. So I'm going to go like this. Div, class. I like to use classes rather than IDs for these. No, doesn't really matter. You could use either. So watch, I'm going to call this header wrap. So that's this first kind of area right here, the first one on top. And then I'm actually going to put inside of it div class equals header. So this now is going to be the header. This is going to be the part that's 960 pixels wide, and this is going to be 100% wide. So you see header wrap, header in Photoshop. And this is going to be the same for these other sections. So I'm going to copy it 4 more times. And then I'm going to rename it from header wrap to slideshow wrap right here. This is going to be renamed to slideshow. This right here will be body wrap. This will be body. This will be subfooter. This will be subfooter. This will be footer wrap, and this will be footer. So you can see this pretty much mirrors the how I decided to slice it up in Photoshop, or how I wanted to mark it up. So there you go. That's that. So now I have this, but it's still not going to show anything because I need to actually start plugging content in. So just to start out, I'm going to work with let's work with this body area to start out. So in here you can see that if I put something body, save it and re-upload it, that we're going to actually now have some type of text here. Yeah, so it should say body here. I'm going to take this down a little. Okay, and I think it's still, for some reason, I think this is just a custom module that I have, but I think in here, yeah, I have this old CSS that we sometimes use to override CSS. So I'm going to actually comment this out so we don't have any extra CSS in here right now. So let me save this. And then now that kind of number right here, this will go away. So we don't have that anymore. So it is pretty much fresh. Okay, so here's this. If I view the HTML right here, you can see, so you got the default kind of main Drupal stuff right here. This is all Drupal. More Drupal, more stuff, and then okay, body, and then where does my, okay, yeah, so body. So right here, this is where I started, the page.tpl starts. So you can see, this is the actual main meat of the site, and this is where we have the stuff that's what we created here. So I'm going to continue on. Okay, so we want our body to actually show the content. Now the way I do that is, here you can see there's a little bit of PHP. It might be a little confusing, but for now I'm not going to use any of this. I'm just going to render out the page content. The page.tpl, it actually comes, there's certain variables that it comes with already that you can use, like page, which is going to have, so if I actually Google here page.tpl.php Drupal 7, you'll see that it's going to have here, these are variables that you can use, and you'll see page is going to be one of them right here, page, and it's actually an array. So it's a variable that you can use to access content, like for instance page content, the main content of the current page. So anything part of the page content region is going to show up when I render this variable. So if I actually go to structure, blocks here, so blocks is where you have your regions. So all these regions that I defined earlier, which you'll probably recognize, slideshow, content header, blah blah blah, all this stuff. So each theme has the ability to change regions. So I'm actually going to remove some of these since I don't want these. So none on those. Okay, so these are the regions now that we've created earlier. This content region is the main page content. So anytime I have here, page. So anytime I use this variable page content, it's going to be pulling whatever is part of this content, however many things I want to assign here. So let me show you that. So now I'm just going to use a print R right now just to show you the contents of that variable. So when I upload this and I go here, so I just did a print R. So it's actually, if I view the source, come down here, so this, you can see array. This is the page array, and part of that array is all this content. So these are all the things that I have access to with this variable. So then you'll see here's the slideshow. If I were to use that slideshow region, all this stuff, you'll see if I keep going down here, pretty soon I'll run into content. So content. So this area right here is, if I were to go page content, that's getting to here. So, and inside of here now, you can see that I have, certain things that I could access. Like, if I wanted to drill all the way down here, I could get there and then have it display this content or certain things like that. But anyway, all I want to do is just use this built-in Drupal function render to render that array, which will basically make it show up where the content, it grabs the actual content that you want to display, right? So if I actually take this, so I'm going to delete this part, so we don't need that anymore. So all I'm going to do here in this body right now is if I were to go PHP print, and then I paste in this render content part, and then I close my PHP like that, re-upload it, you're actually going to see now that if I refresh this page, that it's pulling the content like you would expect. So this is good. So that's the content area. So that's kind of working correct. So let's see what else now. So I am going to want to, by the way, this whole part, I'm not using any of the stuff from this right now. I'm actually just going to comment this out so it doesn't really confuse you. So it's basically like I have all this deleted, and this is just starting right here. So let's take a look over here and see kind of what's next. So you can see in this header we're also going to have a navigation here. So that, I'm actually, now that I think about it, I could include this as part of the header, but I'm going to want to probably do the navigation as its own part because it has a different background, and I think it would probably be more scalable to separate the navigation from the header. So just to kind of remodify what we're doing here, the header that we talked about earlier, which I think was, okay, yeah, so I'm just going to switch these layers around a little. Okay, so this area, I'm now going to choose to have my header just be this. So the header is going to stop here. I'm actually going to now have my navigation be here. So now this is going to be nav wrap, and this is going to be nav. So that's how I'm going to do this now. So it gives us now one other kind of div area that I'm going to need to mark up here in HTML. So if I go back to HTML, so that's under the head wrap and it's above slideshow wrap. So I'm going to copy that, rename it nav wrap, nav. So, and okay, now I want to add in some of these. Well, let's actually now start. Let's add in the right sidebar. So the way that looks is it looks just like this, the print R, the print page content type thing. It's like this, and the content, by the way, that's the name of the region. So since we want to access the sidebar right region, the name is going to be sidebar underscore right, because that is the name we defined it with in our dbd pro.info file. So sidebar right, that's the name. So any of these, if you want to access them, you use this name right here, just so you know. So if I close that out, I'm going to now in the, so let's see how I'm going to put the sidebar right here. And now I'm going to actually call this content area div class. Okay, so that's going to be called page content. So that's part of that div. And then I want this sidebar to be called page right. So I know now this part is going to be my sidebar, page right. Page content is going to be the content part, and it's inside the body area. So in here, I have my main body area, which is all this. But here now, I'm going to have the content called page content. So that's going to be kind of the main content area inside there. And then this now, the sidebar is going to be called page right. So that's how I'm now electing to do my CSS and name my classes. So, my HTML. So there's that. I want this to be like this. So let me re-upload this now. And I'm not sure if anything's in my sidebar or not. So if I go to structure, blocks. Okay, now yeah, so this stuff's back because I don't know if I saved it last time, but delete this. So in this right sidebar now, sidebar right, I'm going to want to put some content so it shows up right now. And I think actually I have this block, global blog, and I think this should actually show some stuff. So by the way, this global blog is part of a custom module called global that I created. So it has a lot of handy things that I kind of use in sites. But this really doesn't have that much to do with the theming. This is more module type stuff. So you can use, whatever blocks that you have available that you think would be good there. But I think for this sample, this global blog will probably be good. So that's in the sidebar right. So if I save that, and then I go to, open this in a new tab. If I go here, okay, I got an error now. So great. So on line 60, I got an error. So let me go to line 60. Okay, and it's because for some reason I forgot to put this past there. So I basically, it's just when I was commenting out this code, I didn't comment it all out. I missed a part. So let me re-upload. Refresh this. And now, okay, so now this is the sidebar right. This recent blog post part. So, and you can see it already has some pre-themed CSS. That's because it's part of my global module, which if you actually go here and edit the CSS, this is a web developer toolbar, by the way, that I'm using to view the CSS. So I have this global.css, and that's why this is already pre-formatted. I think if I delete this, it would lose this style, but that didn't delete it. Let me delete it here, global.css. If I delete this, so you see now it doesn't have any formatting. So this formatting is actually just done through this global.css file, but it's really not that important because this block is just custom and it's not really the purpose of this. This purpose is the theme, not these like small little block type things. So anyway, and same with this quote, this block quote is already pre-themed from global.css. So if you see certain kind of pre-done things, it's just this global.css that I have that automatically kind of has like a base set of themes that I use, but it doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't have any bearing on the actual layout. So we still have no real layout, and that's the whole purpose of this tutorial. So I'm going to show you how to do the layout aspect, so I'm going to continue on. So I want to now start actually making things get centered, have the right widths and things like that, have the backgrounds. So I'm going to start showing you that bit. So we go over now. Let's see. So we got this guy here. So header wrap. Okay, I'm going to now I'm going to take these and hide these extra things that I added. I'm going to put them in their own folder, in their own group here. So all these, now if I had that whole group, everything here is gone. And then same with this text that I did, I'm also going to group this and then hide it. So now I'm just left with this screenshot that I took earlier. So we know that we're going to want to have this background repeating all the way. And you can see this is just a gradient. So if you wanted to create this in Photoshop, a gradient like this, it's pretty straightforward. You'd figure out where you want it. You could create a new object like a box like that with a marquee. You could transform it, Control T, what I pressed, which makes it go the whole width. So it'd be something like this. You place it where you want, and then if you double click on it, it will take you to layer style. And then I'm actually just going to show a little bit of this though, so I can match it. You go to layer style, and then there's this gradient overlay. So you can see I click that and it has a default gradient overlay. Here it is. I want to change this color, so I want this bottom color of the gradient to be, you can click anywhere in the document and it'll use that color. So you can see blue, yellow, that kind of thing. I want it to be pretty much that color. And then this top one, I'm going to want to be about this color. And this one also has one other gradient, I think, about here or so, that you can see it's like a whitish type color. So that was just real quick, but I kind of did match that gradient. But mine ends here. Theirs is right here, so it's pretty much the same. But now what you would do then, so that's how you create the gradient. Same with the nav, so you would just bring this down. And then I would already know that see these two lines here? This is just kind of from theming experience. So you have this line which is 1 pixel and this one's which is 1 pixel. I'm not going to include this in the gradient because that can be done as a 1 pixel border in CSS. So that's actually going to be this one. This darker one is going to be a 1 pixel border for this header wrap. This one is going to be a 1 pixel border on the top for the nav wrap. So I already know I'm going to do that ahead of time, so I know kind of what to avoid. So the part that I'm going to want to repeat for the navigation is going to be this area. Without that. So it's going to be this area. That's going to be my navigation. I'm going to leave this 1 pixel border on the bottom off also. And the part that for the top that I'm going to want to get is going to be this area without that. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. I just zoomed out. So I'm going to hide this stuff. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now you have this slice tool right here. The crop tool, if you click down on it and hold it, you'll see slice tool. So this comes in handy sometimes. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I hit my slice tool. Now what I'm going to do is just take a little element, little piece of it. Doesn't really matter how wide it is, but smaller is going to be a smaller file size. So, but we'll just do 10 pixels, and this is going to be the background that repeats, that I'm going to repeat with CSS. So I'm just going to call this BG header. So there's that. And then I'm going to also now create another slice here for this next part. And you can see it's still a pixel too high, so I'm going to move it down here. And I'm going to call this nav, or BG nav. So BG nav. And by the way, I'm just to rename it, you go slice select tool and you double click on it. And then you can see that comes up. You can rename it BG header. And the reason I'm renaming it is because that's what it's going to be called when I save it. So I'm going to save this right now. So if I zoom in here real quick though, you can see that these end where they need to. I'm not getting this extra stuff. And it starts here and then it ends there. So if I zoom out, okay, Control Alt Shift S is to save for web. It's here. So I hit this. So it's going to give me a quick little preview. And here they are. So I click one of them and then I hold shift and click the other. So now I have both of them selected. It tells you the file size here, 725 bytes. Since this is something it's not really an image, it's just kind of like a gradient. It's probably better to do a ping for this, even though this is very low file size, it doesn't really matter. But if I click this and I go ping 8, it's 561 bytes. If I were to do ping 24, it'd be actually less, which is interesting. Because a ping 24 is higher quality, and it also, you can include transparency a lot of the time, but I'm just going to save it as this. So here's what I do. So I go save. Now it's going to have this pop up. So it wants to know which slices I want to say selected slices because I only want those 2 slices saved, and it's going to automatically save them. So the settings, default settings, which I think it saves it in my images folder. So anyway, I'm just going to save it. This doesn't matter because it's going to not use this name. It's going to use the names that I saved for the slices. So boom, there's that. It wants to ask if I replace it because I've already named files previously. That I do. So anyway, I'm going to go now to where I saved it, which is Documents, Images. Okay, you can see it right here. Okay, so I have it saved here. BG header. This is that one file. BG nav. This is the other one. So these are my 2 backgrounds. I'm now going to take these and I'm going to upload these into my files folder on my FTP. So now that we got these, we can actually start working with them. So we will do that right now just to kind of show you. So back to now. Here, the way I like to do CSS is I just use this plugin, Web Developer. So I think if you were to go, I'm using Firefox, if you were to go Firefox Web Developer, you have this right here, this Web Developer add-on. So if you come here and add it to Firefox and go through the steps, you'll then get this once Firefox restarts. So this is what I'm using. There's this handy feature called Edit CSS. If I click that, it allows me to, it pulls up all the CSS files that I'm using and it allows me to edit them. So you see here, template. This is my blank CSS file that is right here that I originally defined in my dbdpro.info to be used as the CSS for this theme. So if I come here, you could see I could start doing CSS body, background. I can make it red, so now the whole background is red. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to start messing with the CSS and start laying some stuff out. So here's how I do it. I like to start out with all of my wrappers, so like header wrap, and I'm going to go comma, and then let's go. So okay, so I have header wrap, I have nav wrap, I have slideshow wrap, body wrap, subfooter wrap, footer wrap. So I'm going to add all these. So header wrap, nav wrap, slideshow wrap, body wrap, subfooter wrap, and footer wrap. Okay, and then they're all going to do something. So you can see that I have all these targeted. So if I were to give it a border, you can see, well, they do have the border, but it's kind of confusing because they're all stacked. But so anyway, these are all those little things, those containers. But what I want to do with these is I want to float them all. So I float these left, and then I give them a width of 100%. So this way they're always stacked on top of each other. And then I also, just in case, clear both. So that's kind of how I start this. So now watch. I want to have my header, I want to have my nav, I want to have my slideshow, body, and subfooter, and footer. Okay, so these are the parts inside. So now, so again, here we have, I just did the CSS for all these wrappers, but now I want to get all this stuff, these ones that I created earlier, and I want to center them, and I want to have a specific width of 960 pixels. So you can see these are the wrappers, and then inside of each wrapper I have the actual main div. So we'll go back here. Okay, so here now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do width 960 pixels. So you can see now it actually, made this all 960. And then you go margin 0 auto. So what this does is it actually, the 0 is for the top and the bottom where I don't want a margin. The auto is for the left and the right. So that's kind of the shorthand for it, and that's a good way to center things with CSS. So there's that, but I'm going to continue on. So now I kind of have my site blocked out. I'm going to add a I'm gonna work on the header and the nav. So now I'm gonna go back to header wrap. So, and I could, if I wanted to, add this, for each one I could go header wrap, and then I could add this, and then I could also add more stuff, but I like to kind of keep the main blocking of my site just separate like this. So if I needed to ever come back and change, oh no, I want it 940 pixels, I can do that, and everything's good. So just to show you, so if I wanted to change it, I want it 500 pixels, I want it 940, 960, so just kind of handy to keep it like that. So header wrap, this is now where I'm going to do the background. So you'll notice the background, I uploaded it already, so it's in Sites, All, Themes, DVD Pro, Files, and it's called BG-header. So I'm going to add that. So you can see right now the header wrap, it doesn't have a, if I add the background you're not going to see it because there's no height to it. I'm just going to temporarily add some height, and I'm actually going to figure out what this height should be. So this height would be, what would be the height of that slice. So you can see here I double click it, height 118, so it's 118 pixels. So I'm actually going to now add that in my CSS, height 118 pixels. So you'll see now this is my header wrap. So there you have that. So I don't want the background red, obviously. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to add in this order. But okay, so URL, and then it's Sites, All, Themes, DVD Pro, Files, header, bg header.ping. So there's that. You can see it's already by default working right, but that's just because I have the height and everything defined right. If I were to make my height bigger, you're going to see it's going to kind of mess up now because it's stacking on top of itself. So in here, you're also going to want to be sure to go just repeat X, because I only want it to repeat horizontally and not vertically. Because if I were to do repeat Y, it would just repeat it on its Y, but I want the X axis repeated. So go here, I want to change this back to 118, so that's the right height, and there's that background. Now let's add the nav real quick. I'm just going to copy this nav, and the way to do the nav now is let's figure out that height again. So the height is 38, and you'll notice this is just kind of a, okay, so 38, but you'll notice I'm only counting the height without the border. So with the border it would actually be 40 pixels because you'd have this bottom one and this top one, but I'm not counting that because in CSS when you add the border it adds that on top of the height and it doesn't include it. So the background is included with the height but the border isn't. It's kind of just something to know. So anyway, so that was 38. So there's that for the I need to obviously change this to nav. So there's my nav, but it doesn't have the right image yet, so I just changed this from BG header to BG nav. So there's my navigation. So this is right, but it doesn't have those little borders. So I'm going to add that right now. Photoshop. So if I zoom in here close enough so I can use a color picker, this one is this color. So that's going to be the bottom border for this header wrap. Border, bottom, 1 pixel, solid. There. So I just added the border for that. This one is going to be the top border for my nav. So that's the color. I'm going to come here. Border, top, 1 pixel, solid, and there. So there's that. And I come down. Here's this border for the bottom. It's a little bit different color. So I'll grab that. And then border, bottom, 1 pixel, solid, and there. Okay, so now I got my borders right. For some reason this doesn't look right, but let me see. So in Photoshop, how did it look? Yeah, it looks better in, oh, well, okay, and obviously you don't want to be getting okay. I got the wrong colors because I did it with those other colors on top of it, so I'm just going to redo this real quick, but for some reason maybe it'll look better once I use these new colors. So if I go back to here, okay, I'm going to redo this bottom border for that top part. Okay, now this one, One moment, please. Come back in here. Going to redo this one. It's that color. Boom, got it. Come over here. That's going to be this one. Okay, that looks a lot better now. Yeah, so, and then here, so I want this one. So, but you'll see what happened is, I'll copy that. I had these things overlaid on top, so it obviously made it darker. So that's just me being weird. So add that one. So now this looks right. I'm going to save my progress here. So I'm going to copy this. So copy, and then I'm going to go to template.css, open it, paste that in. So you'll see here, there's my CSS now. And then if I upload it, close this out, we don't need that anymore. Refresh it, and close this. Okay, I might need to refresh again because it's okay. It doesn't seem to be working. Let me make sure it's pulling my template.css. Yes. Okay. Okay, I uploaded it into my files folder. That's why. Let me move that real quick to the actual root place for my theme, which is when it loads DBD Pro. Okay, yeah, so now it's where it needs to be. I had it in the files folder. It should be here. So let me refresh. Okay, so this is the progress we've made so far. So you can see it's getting there. We got the nav, this kind of stuff. So anyway, let's go back and do more. So Photoshop, I want to now work on this background. So you can see here there's a small gradient, and then it stops and it repeats the same color. So if I actually use my color picker and I just hold and I click down, you'll see right here this is changing, but at some point it's going to stay the same. So once I get here, so right about here, it's now the same color repeating. So if I'm going to slice this up, I only need to get to the part where the color stays the same. So that would be about right here. So I'm going to just slice down. Slice tool. And let me see. So I'm obviously, I'm safe here. So that's good. So I want about there. So let me make sure here. I'll go up one. And I'm going to rename this to BG body. And you can see that's good. And I'm going to save that. So I just want this specific slice. I'm going to do it as a ping 24 probably. So I'll grab that, save it. Selected slices, that's all good. I'm going to have to replace this, which is good. And now I'm going to go to files, and then in here I saved it here, body BG body. There it is. So now, one other thing I'm going to need is, so I got this background, and then I'm also going to use this main color as just kind of the main background. So I'm going to copy that because I'll need that. So let me close this out. Okay, so back to the CSS. Edit CSS. So now in my template.css, I have the uploaded one that has the stuff pre-done. So I'm going to go body wrap, and this one doesn't need a height because it's just going to be whatever height the content scales it to. So I'm going to leave that okay like that, and then I'm going to go background URL, and now since this one I want it to have a certain color that repeats the whole way, I'm going to do it like this. So I already have this color now, but I still want that background gradient on the top. So the way I do that, so I have the color and then the URL. I would put in this URL here like this, and then just use that file that I already saved out. So file/bgbody.ping, and then I'm only going to want this to repeat on the X. So there. So you can see that's already on the top, and it's repeating on the X like it should, because if I did Y again, it would look, see how that on the side. So I obviously want the X-axis, and if I didn't have repeat, it would just do that. So I only want it to repeat once on the top, like so. So like that. So that's right. Let's see how we're looking now. So we got this. Let's go here. So this all looks okay. This looks alright. Yeah. Okay, so there's that. Yeah, so I'm going to continue on with these two bottom parts now. So once again, same type of thing, we're just going to slice this. So if I zoom in here, now this one, again, I'm going to want to just that border, since it's a little bit different from the gradient, I guess. Although this one's about the same, I'm just gonna include that like that. So there's one slice and two slice. And then this one is the same image, or same, it's the image, I think the color stops about here. So once again, here, this is all the same, but right here it gets a little different, so I'm just going to stop it there. And then I'll repeat this. So rename. This is going to be BG sub footer. This is going to be BG footer. And yeah, so Control Shift Alt S, save as for web, and then ping. You cruise down here, holding down spacebar to use this hand tool, and then I click this, and then I shift click this. So now I have these two backgrounds. I want to make sure they're both pings, and then I save. So, yep, that's all good. I'm going to replace. That is okay with me. Over here, I'm going to upload these now. So those are in. Great. So once again, CSS is going to be pretty straightforward. Just going to work off this stuff. Oh. Yeah. So let's copy that one over. So this one is sub footer. This one is footer. Okay, and this one is not going to need this part. Let me go down so you can see what's going on here. Yeah, so it's going to need a height for now, just to show you. But let's see. So there's a height. We'll use the actual real height for now, which is 105 pixels. So we'll go back here, and we will go 105. Okay, so there's that. There's that. And then this is obviously going to be BG sub footer. There it is. Looks good. And this one is going to be BG footer, and it's going to repeat this color. So I got this color right here. I'm going to put this here. There it is. And this one will be called BG footer. This one's going to need a height also, and these heights will later delete, but just for now to show you. But this one you could do like 200 pixels, and that looks like so. And then obviously if it were to be taller, it's still going to look right because it's just going to extend it and repeat that color over. So there's that. We'll keep it here for now. And so this is now kind of, you know, the basic structure, the way it should look. So there's that. I'm going to save this now, and I'm going to actually wait for this. I don't feel like waiting. I'll go here, and I'll edit this file to look like so with those new updated changes. And hopefully this stuff should be making some sense of what's going on. Okay, there's that. So we got the basic structure now in there. We obviously now we're going to need to add some, you know, the navigation and the logo and some stuff. And then obviously here we're going to need to get that white background and have this, on top. So yeah, like it needs to start looking more like this. So we're actually gonna, let's work on this. We'll come back to the slideshow. We'll leave that like this for now. Let's start working on this part and just get this good. So with that, I'm going to, let's see, add this white box around the page content and the page right. So let's do that. Back to CSS, but let me just, so the HTML on this page.tpl, we actually now, okay, so that's going to be the actual body. This white area is going to be body that I'm going to make white, because you can see that contains both of these two parts. So it's going to be this body that has the white, as you see here, and then also you can notice it has this little drop shadow. So I'll add that also when we're doing that. So let's do that. And I'm pretty sure this is white. Let me just double check. So yeah, FFFF, so yeah, white. Okay, so back to the CSS. Edit CSS. Gonna go back to template.css. And in here you'll see this. Okay, let's go now, body. So you can see right now if we go background, I think this should work. Oh, yep. So we're gonna have a white background. We're gonna want to have a margin on the top and the bottom. Right now we'll just do like 30 pixels, like so. So if we, okay, this, no, I'm gonna have some issues here. Yeah, so I can't, well, forget the margin there because of these float issues. I'm going to give a margin on this nav wrap. So under the nav, I'm going to do a margin of a bottom margin of like 30 pixels. So, but now that happens, of course. So never mind. Okay, body wrap. We're going to go padding top 30 pixels. So that'll bump that. That's what we want. So we're going to want that on the top and the bottom. So we'll go padding 30 pixels 0. So what this did is it gave a 30 pixel padding here, 30 pixel padding here. So it kind of drops this, as you can see. So 0 pixels, 30 pixels. So it drops it down. So that's how we're going to want to do that. And now background, there's that. So in the background, or in the body, we're going to need some type of padding. Here you can see it's got like a 20 pixel padding, and that's, well, you could pad the whole body area. So you see this padding, kind of how it's got this kind of margin. You could pad it at the body level, or you could pad it at the actual this level. I'm going to pad it at the body level. So that means is I'm just going to go padding 20 pixels, and you'll see it bumps everything in. Now, something important to notice, I just gave it a 20 pixel padding, and it didn't go inside. It actually increased the whole width now to 980 pixels. It'll be more noticeable if I were to do 200. So you see how this whole width now is larger? I don't want that. I want this whole width to still be 960 pixels, but this padding messes it up. So I'm going to leave that, but I know, so without padding, it's 960 pixels. With this 20 pixel padding, it adds 20 pixels on the left and the right. So it's now actually 1,000 pixels total. Just to show you, print screen, Adobe Photoshop. I'm going to create a new thing real quick, because this is fairly important. So if I take my marquee tool and I measure it from here to here, look, so you see here on the info, see how it says 1001? It's just because I'm a pixel over, but it's actually 1,000 pixels. So we don't want that, because we want it 960 pixels. So the way to do that is there's a few ways, but I do want to have it to where my body has the padding. So if I did want to change the padding, I could just change it one place and then it'd be good. So I'm going to now update this to where body, actually we'll just do it in here. So we'll leave that like that. Okay, so in here now, right now the body is 960 pixels, because you can see here body 960 pixels. I'm now going to change this to 960 minus 40, which is 20 on each side, left and right. So 20 plus 20 is 40. So 960 minus 40 is 920. So I'm going to redefine the width now to 920 pixels. And this now should, if I were to print screen this and take it back over to Photoshop, it should make it a different width to where, but it doesn't look like it's working, which I'm not sure why, as usual. But let me see here. So if I use this root ID, it does work, which is it's probably not the best thing to use. So I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or not. I'm still trying to think the best way to do this. How else could I? Let's see. Well, maybe it would be best. View this HTML. Okay, so here's body, page content. So no, I don't have any. I think I am going to do the margins actually now at this page content and page sidebar level, although I don't want to. Still not sure. I'm undecided how to do this. Let me think. If I did this, doesn't work. Well, for now, I'm just going to target it like this so it does work. And I'm going to continue on. This might not be the best way to do it, but it's not a bad way to do it. So we'll do it like this for now and move on. So I want that border now with the drop shower, the outer glow. So in here and in here, see this little glow type thing, and it looks, I think that's the same color. Yeah, so this is, I'm just gonna try this color, maybe do like a 5 pixel glow with CSS. So the way I would do that is, so in here, box shadow, and then I'm gonna go, since I don't want it to drop anywhere, I just want it to start at 0, 0. I'll go 5 pixels and then the color. So there's this. It's not quite dark enough, I don't think. So, and again, this doesn't have to be perfect, but if I did want to, see, go, and I could give it the border, which would help. Let's try that. So this border does kind of help make it show, and that's not bad. Let's see how. There's that, and that. It's still not happy with it though. It's not quite what it should be, but it's probably because this is more of a darker shadow. So if we were to just use maybe this color for the drop shadow, let's see how that looks. There, boom. That's better, but maybe 3 pixels. New. So just kind of tweaking it a little bit right now. I mean, this right here is not that bad. Kind of being nitpicky, but sometimes important. Here, let's go about there, and maybe we'll just end it with this. We're going to go with this for now. We could always come back and tweak it later, but maybe a tad bigger though, so it's a little softer. No. Still not that happy with it, but I'm not mad about it. Well, that's not bad. That's not bad. We'll go with this for now and move on. Okay, and just wondering if I were to take this and go here. That's not bad. That's not bad. Well, no. We'll do this. Okay, so there's that. Anyway, so I think now this, I'm going to print screen one more time to make sure we have the right width on this guy. So hopefully we do. So start here, just a quick check. And yeah, we're 960 pixels, so we're good. That's what we want. So let's move on. We're going to want to take the page content and we're going to float that. That's the actual content area left. So if I go here with 500 pixels, you should see that happen, which is good. And then if I go here to the page right, and I float that to the left, let's say, with 300 pixels, there's that guy, which is good. That's what we want also. So this is all good. And obviously, though, it's this background we are having some issues with. What I'm going to do actually, though, is I'm going to create one more div, which will allow me to do padding without having to do this type of thing with the root. It'll allow me to create padding, and then it'll also allow me to float it so that this whole thing will now shoot down. So watch, you'll see. So I'm going to save this for now, though. So copy this and template. There it is with these new changes. Template CSS. I'm going to, let me refresh this. I'm going to take a quick break right now with once these changes, and then I'm going to come back in a few moments. Actually, I have to take another call right now. So we'll come back to this after this page refreshes, and yeah, we'll continue on in a few seconds. So I'll be right back. Alright, so we are back. We left off here with this part. We're kind of trying to get this white part to go down all the way now since we've floated these. So let's continue on here. What I'm going to do is, in my HTML, so I was originally adding this white part, to the body. I'm going to create another div in here called content. And I'm going to make the page content and page right a part of it. And so we'll do that. Now I'm going to re-upload this. And then refresh here. So now that we have that, let's go edit the CSS again. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. So I'm going to get rid of these parts, this width kind of thing that I did. Okay, and I'm going to take this out. Okay. Now, I'm going to want to have content, that's this. So if I float this left and I go with 100%, now I should be able to take most of this stuff and add it here. Now you'll know this stuff is not updating right now. I think it's kind of a bug with this web developer toolbar. Sometimes that happens, but I'm going to take that out. If I actually add it, delete that where it loads it so I don't have my CSS. Now if I add this here, you'll see here I actually, since I'm doing this for this content div, it's also showing this. So this div also is unfortunately named content, so it's creating a problem. So rather than creating these problems, I'm going to rename this to page, because I don't want these. So let's call that page. So then this is going to be page. So let me save this, and I'm gonna come in here. do this, get rid of all this stuff since I don't need it. So there's my CSS with page, and then I have this renamed, so I'm going to upload these two files now. And if I refresh, okay, it's looking better now. So obviously this stuff, it goes all the way, extends over. That's because of that global.css where I have a certain specific fixed width. I'm going to change that right now. I'm going to just put another block there because I don't want to mess with that problem right now. So let's go get rid of that. Something good there would be, we could have a contact form. We could have a location. Let's just put a contact form there for now. So sidebar right. That should be fine. Maybe we'll throw some. Yeah, we'll do the just to kind of show. We'll throw hours also. No, location. Let's do this. Location sidebar right. Okay, so now we have contact form and location are going to be on that right sidebar. So let's now view it. So you can see you got location, the contact bar, the contact is not showing up because it's on the home page, and I think I have it set to not show on the home page. So I'm actually going to fix that right now. I'm going to use this other contact form 2, because this is my home page contact form. But nope, never mind, I'm gonna use this one still. But what I'm gonna do is configure this, because I have it so it's only all pages except those listed, so it wasn't showing on the front page. I'm gonna delete that, so now it'll show on the front page. So we got a contact form, and we got this location. This location isn't showing everything because it doesn't have a, it's not filled out for this guy. So I'm actually, since he doesn't have a location, I'm not going to use that block right now. Let's see here. Just not sure what else to use. Maybe we'll use about temporarily. So let's go about and then contact form and then get rid of that. So this should hopefully show. Let me see here. Configure. Okay, so that's good. So now we'll have a little about, you can see, and then contact us. This about is a custom global block also. It's pulling it from the about page, so you can see Roger is a coach who is an expert. If you actually go to /about, it's pulling it from this node. Yeah, pulling it from this node. This one. So Roger is a coach who, so you can see it's there. So anyway, we're going to go back to the home page. So so we got kind of this background part working okay. Let me just make sure this is still the correct width. I'm still a little bit nervous about that. So let me paste it in. So now we're doing this white background on the page div, and it's 960 pixels, as you can see, which is good. So that's working right. We're going to want to add some padding now again, because you can see we don't have that anymore. I'm going to go back, edit CSS. So when we load this up, so we can take this body part out for now. And now, so since this page is inside of body, I should be able to add a padding without having it. Well, no, it still does. So anyway, I might need to go like this, and now hopefully this works. Okay, I don't think it's getting this again, so let me just copy this over to here, because it wasn't reading the CSS, but now it is. Okay, good. So 920 pixels, and now finally we should be good, I hope. So we have the padding, and we have it, I believe, set to the right width to where everything should line up correct. So let's now continue. So we got page content. This, if we go to here, so this right here looks like it's going to be about 580 pixels. This right here looks like it's 250 pixels or so. So 580, 250. So we'll go here. So 580 pixels here. This one we're going to want to go 250. And I could float it to the right also, but maybe not. I'm going to float it to the left because I'd rather do it that way than just add a margin to the side and bump it over. And real quick, this form, as you can see, it's going over. I'm just going to fix that real quick by going, let's see, let's go page right, input, type, text. Let's do a width of that to like 98%, so that should bump that over. 97%, 96%, 95%. So I'm just kind of matching it up to this one right now temporarily. Okay, so that's about right. And just to show you, we got this one, and then we got this one. So I'm going to bump this over a little bit now. So you'll notice too, I have this drop shadows here, and I'm going to make this a part of. I could either include it as in the page content div or in the page right div. I'm going to include it in the page right. So, and if just to show you, if you wanted to make this in Photoshop, something like that, you would go like so. So I'm just gonna white this out real quick. Create a new group real quick with this too. So you'd add white. So I just filled it with white, so it's not there. And then what you could do, there's a bunch of ways to do this, but here's a kind of quick way. So I were to come in here, let's say I made it this whole thing black, right? I want to, let's go a little bit up like this. So there's a feather tool in Photoshop. I could just come here like this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to feather this whole selection that I have, this marquee selection. So right now if I hit delete, I delete that. But if I actually feather it, I'm going to go 1 pixel over. So if I feather this, which is under select, modify, feather, shift F6, I could feather this, let's say like 40 pixels. So you'll see now it's rounded. What it basically did is it did a feathered gradient selection. So if I hit delete, you can see it's got kind of a gradual feathering. So if I hit it again, I just kind of feathered that. So it looks similar to that. But you obviously want it to not be so harsh like that. You want it to kind of also feather. So here's this add layer mask. If I take that, I hit B for my brush. I'm going to increase the size using the bracket key. And if I hold shift bracket, it'll do a harsh edge. So if I click it, see that harsh edge? If I hold shift and I hit the small bracket, it's going to give it a soft edge like that. So I want a soft edge. And then I want to make sure I'm on my mask level, my mask thing right here. So I am. So now when I do this, see how it deletes kind of whatever I select, and then I can also paint it back in by, if I switch these colors. So I paint it in with white, I get rid of it with black. So it's like that. So I could just kind of paint how I would want it to work. And then here I might want to have it a little bit sharper of an edge, let's say, maybe kind of like that. Here though I might want a really gradual edge, so kind of like that. and then you could go in and select this layer. If I change the opacity now to like 5 or 50%, I hit the number 5 on my keypad. So 3, you know, and then you could just kind of see that's pretty similar to what's going on here. This one, this one here is a little bit tighter in here, so the feathering wasn't as much. It was more like a probably like 20 pixels or so, but you know, you could change that around. So I'm just kind of showing you basically how to do that type of thing, even though we'll just end up using the other shadow. So so it's similar. That's kind of how you do that type of thing. So hopefully that makes sense. So let's hide that now. Okay, so I'm gonna want this. So I'm gonna take this like so. Although I am a little upset about this, how it's still got a bit of a pixel type. Being the perfectionist I am, I'm going to brush this. I'm just taking my brush tool and I'm making it smaller. I'm just going to add a little bit of white on top of this so that it's not a harsh edge right there. So you can see I'm just painting in some white, and now that kind of cleared that up. So if I hide it, so you can see I just kind of got rid of that. And I think that's probably what I'm going to want, but let me zoom out and see. So there it is like that. There it is without. It's pretty good. I'm going to make it a little bit more subtle though. So let me just increase my brush size a little bit. Make sure that it's good. So there's white. And if I add it here, like that. So now if I were to delete, you know, this part, you can see it's a little bit smoother on that top part, but it's still not quite where it needs to be. There. Anyway, that stuff's not that important. So, but anyway, so I'm going to save this out now. So, I guess I could slice it again. So slice, we will grab it like so here. I'm just grabbing this. I'm going to go down, and it ends actually here. You can see again it's kind of got an abrupt ending. But I'm just going to make it a little bit less abrupt. And so it ends there. We could stop the slice maybe here. And then you're going to want to make the width of the slice, make sure that it's long enough to where you hit white. So right here, if you see it's pure white. If I keep dragging left, I'm going to hit an actual gradient color right here, FE. So I'm actually covered there, so I'm good. I'm just going to leave it here. And this is just going to be assigned to the top left of that page right div. So let me save that. Actually, let me name it first. So we will call this, cancel this. Now my computer is going slow. Hopefully fixes itself. Okay, yeah. Okay, so in here, double click it. BG page right. There it is. Okay, so save for web. We want to save this as a ping 24. You'll see it is this guy right here that we are saving. So here, save selected slices, that's all fine. It's going to save it in my images folder. So if I go to images, you'll see this. I'm going to upload this to my files folder. And we will now, so I'm going to remove these backgrounds. This one now, so I want to go URL, sites, all, themes, DVD, profiles, bg, page, right, dot ping. So there it is, and you can see that it is repeating. I want this one, I don't even want this one to repeat, so I just want top left, I want in the top left area, and I want no repeat. So this one's just going to do once. And now I'm going to need to add some padding to this div right here to make it bump this over so you can actually see that shadow. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure that I'm bumping it the right space, the right amount, I'm going to first give a red background so I can make sure that I get it to that edge with 20 pixels. So I'm going to increase this width now a little bit. Actually, I'm going to increase the width though by adding padding. So padding left. Okay, so padding left, if I add like 40 pixels, you'll see now it bumped it over, and now you're seeing this stay here. So I added the padding. And obviously, if I did margin, it wouldn't do what I wanted. It would move everything, but I want padding because I want that to stay. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna want a little bit of margin here too. So, you know, probably about 40 pixels actually. So let me go here. This guy, I could add, I'm just gonna add it here though. So I'm gonna add margin left here, 40 pixels also. So this now it's gonna bump 40 pixels here and then 40 pixels in padding. So there, and you can see it's a little bit, it still has a little bit of extra space I could go. I'm gonna increase this to 260 pixels. So there's that. I think if I were to go one more pixel, it would bump it down, so that's too much. So let's go 260. So let's run with that. So now if I delete this red from here, so it looks kind of how it should look. So there's that, and let's save this and then we'll continue on. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my template, CSS, delete all this crap because I don't need it, save it, and we are going to upload again. Okay, let me close this. So now if I refresh it, we're getting a little bit closer, so that's good. Okay, so here's the actual site, and here's where we are. So we're getting there, but still not quite there. So I'm going to continue on with the content and this stuff later. So right now, I'm going to now jump into, let's get this header part going. So I'm going to do the nav without drop downs. Do the drop downs some other time perhaps. And so this phone number is there. It's dynamic. We'll leave that dynamic. You can see this is an image, this actual text here. So I'm going to maybe I'll tweak the Blaker logo a little bit so it actually, you know, I'll do a little bit of Photoshop to make that look right and put it in there. And then I guess I'm not going to add this because we already are going to have our own login thing for all our templates. So I'm not going to include that, but I will include the number, and we're going to have a place for the logo. And so yeah, let's do this part now. So let's start with the navigation. You can see here they're actually using two borders. It's kind of hard to see. I'm going to show you in Photoshop. So they got two borders, right? Oh, well, no, this one has, it's interesting. Maybe it's because I'm on the home page here that it, yeah, that's interesting. Because you can see there's a darker border on this home page, but on the other page it gets rid of that darker border because it gives both borders on the active page. But so we'll build it out like this. So the way we would do that is, so they're using a left border right here, which is this lighter one, boom, and then here they're using a darker border, and it kind of gives a shadow effect where it looks like it's sticking out kind of. So anyway, the way, let's continue. So, and then as far as the font, offhand I'm not quite sure what font this is. It's not Arial. It looks, I don't know. Sometimes if you view the source, the CSS, you can find it in there. Let's see. So let's see if there's anything here. No. see here, looking for the font. Let me just, okay, so I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in to just a text file to try to find the font. So I'm going to search font family type thing. Okay, so it's Trahan Pro Bold. I think that's what the font is. Looks like it. So I'm not sure if this needs to be included this way or not, because it probably does. So let me just see if there's any other fonts here. Traha Pro. Okay, same one. I'm pretty sure that's the font. I think this one they're also using. So they have this font. So let me see navigation wise if they're using any. So I'm actually going to, for the font, I'm going to download this one. So you can see when you do, because this is a custom font, one that's not normally installed in a computer. So if you're doing that, because normally computers have like Arial, Verdana, Times New Roman, stuff like that, but this one computers might not have. So you can see they're actually including the different files for it, so that through CSS they can load these in, and then it'll work appropriately. So I'm going to download these. So you can see the URL's fonts / this. So if I go here, I close this out, and then I go /. So from their root directory /font / this should pull up. Okay, it didn't, so that's not good. Somewhere in here, I just need to figure out kind of where it's loading this from. CSS. It might be. It's probably going to be in this WordPress content themes here, and then instead of /style, it's probably going to be / this stuff. So watch this. Let's go here like this. So this right, this right, this right. So, and then here, I'm thinking this is what it's going to be. So yeah, so there I found the font. So I'm going to download that, save. So I just saved it. Very nice. So I want that one. I want some other ones too though. So EOT, I want this one, WOFF, I want TFF. So let me get these. So I'm just going to change now this. Save. TFF. Save that. Okay, that one doesn't look like it's found. Let me make sure I got the right. Oh, TTF. Duh. Okay, TTF. Let's grab that guy, and then might as well grab this last one. So this one is SVG. Okay. So I guess that one's not loading because I need maybe this full thing. I don't know. I don't even know if you need an SVG or not, but maybe. But so let's get this. Okay, that one's not loading, but I don't think that matters. I don't think we need this. I don't know why. So let's go to these, the folder containing these real quick. So it's in my downloads. Let's one moment please. We are waiting. Okay, so I'm gonna cut those and move them into my temp folder for now. So I'm just gonna move them here and close that and come over files, and then let's upload these. Okay, so now we have our fonts. Okay, So you can see we have these fonts, and then I'm actually going to do a font. Basically, is this CSS right here. So the way this works, show you. So I grab that. Let's close this now. Well, keep it for a second. Okay, back to ours. We have those fonts uploaded. I'm going to go to CSS, edit CSS. Okay. The very top here, I like to do this. Excuse me. Okay, so this now is going to be, these are going to be located, not there, they're going to be located here. Sites, all, themes, DBD Pro, files / that. So that's what we want here. There. There. And this one we don't have, but we will still put this just in case we add it at some point. So there. Okay, so now we have this part. So if I copy this over and put it in embedded styles, because I have a feeling it might not work. So if I paste that now, and then if we were to go, for instance, okay, so you can see the font family, it's called this, Trahan Pro Bold. I'm just going to rename this to, I like to do it like so, BT. I'm just going to call it this, like so. Okay, so anytime I use this as the font family now, it should use this new font, so hopefully this works. If I go over to page content, and if I were to do font family Arial, you can see it changes to Arial or Dana. If I do this one, we have this. So it is using that font. Although it does look like this font is being used some other place, not for content obviously. So we'll leave that for now there. And then one other font they were using, let me save our CSS again. Over here, template, boop, there it is. Delete this stuff. Okay, so now we have that font in there. Re-upload. Okay, so I think this one is yeah, so that font is this is Trahan. This one is, I believe, the, whatchamacallit, this one, Trebuchet. So I'm pretty sure that's the font that's using. So, and since this one is included, I think, on Macs and Windows machines, you can just use it. You don't have to actually have the font pulled from the server like that. You can just use the name, and then you can see if that one's not found, it uses this one. If that one's not found, it uses this one or this one. So this is the first one though that they want to use. So if we go now to we'll just keep that in mind for now because I want to get this navigation going. So in Drupal, to do a navigation, if you go page.tpl this way, so the navigation is going to be done through this main menu. It's an array. So it's displayed something like, let me show you, just to pull up another theme real quick. So we originally copied this DBD shadow. If you were to pull up this page.tpl and then go edit, in TextPad, here's where I do the main menu variable, and you can see I'm theming it with links, which is how Drupal is a Drupal theming function to theme an array of links. So when I do the navigation, I'm basically just going to add this. So print theme links, and then the array of the links are this. So when I go back now, close this, to my page.tpl, where it has this navigation, I want to add that. So here's this. And while we're at it, you might as well just add in the logo. So the logo, you also have a logo right here, the path to the logo image as defined in theme configuration. So the logo variable is going to pull the path for the logo. So if I actually go to this other one right here, yeah, so you can see here the div class logo. I have this little HTML bit right here where basically you can see the image source is logo, and then I have it in a link that if you click it, it takes you to the home page as that slash, and then the alt text is going to be the site name, which is a Drupal variable. So whatever the site name is, that's going to be the alt text for that logo. So I'm going to take that also and go to our page.tpl, and so in the it's going to be in the header. So I'm going to add a div called logo, like this, like that, and inside there is going to be the logo. And then over here later, I'm going to add a phone number, because you can see that there was that phone number on this page right here. So there's this number. So I added this right here, this logo, in the logo div, and then this number. And they're in two different divs. This is going to be floated to the left, this is going to be floated to the right. And it's going to have a number. So right now, we'll just copy this text for now, call us. And we will put that in our phone area right there, like that. Later, we would actually, I have a built-in variable for the phone number that we would use, so we wouldn't want to hard code it like this. We'd want to actually have a variable that changes depending on what the phone number is in the database. But we'll leave this right now to theme it, and keep in mind we're leaving this slideshow just like this for now. We're not messing with it. We'll get back to that later, but it is above this body wrap area, and we'll get to the footer later. Get to this later. So we're going to work on this nav. This nav in this header area right now. So you can see we have the HTML pretty good now. We have the logo, we have this phone number, and then we have the navigation. So now we're going to have the HTML, and we're just going to need to theme this. So let me save this. Let me upload the page.tpl to the right theme. Don't want to accidentally overwrite this one. Okay, so I'm going to make sure we hit the right one. So it's this page TPL. So now if I upload this, and just okay, so let's just make sure real quick though it's here. Okay, so now we have the stuff. Let me show you real quick on the, just a note. So sometimes what I'll do here to not accidentally overwrite something, because it would suck to overwrite this with the wrong file and then maybe I don't have this and it gets messed up. Every once in a while I might just rename these things with like an underscore, or you could put like old dot whatever, or like backup, or something like that. But just to so that I have something to go back to if I ever messed up. So now if I ever did kind of mess up and this file was wrong, I could at least now pull this one back, and then I'd still have kind of a fairly recent version to work back from. So here we go. We got this. This logo was created in Photoshop, and it was already saved under, if you go to Appearance, and then you go to Settings, and then you go to, yeah, right here. So this is the path to the logo. So it's here. So that logo, because if you go to the Files folder, you would see it in there. So yeah, so back here, Files, Blaker, it's going to be, one moment please, Blaker, Business Coaching. So there's the logo. It's, I think, this one. Yeah, so that's where it is. So it knows to pull that one. So we will then go back to where we need to go to. Sites, All, Themes, DVD Pro. Okay, we're back. And we got the logo. Okay, so we'll we're probably going to want to change this logo, but we'll keep it like this for now, just to move along here. So this phone number, we need to theme. This navigation, we need to theme. So let's do that. CSS, edit CSS. Okay, let's grab this template.css. I'm gonna cut all that out, and I'm just gonna, as I've been doing, I'm just deleting this stuff because this is calling that. This is the template.css, so I'm just gonna delete this, and I'm gonna actually paste it in right here. So now that we got the CSS in there. Okay, so excuse me. So up to the navigation. Let's just keep this like so. So nav. Okay, so the way this works now is we're gonna want to this list we're gonna want to display inline, I believe. So like that, you can see. And then we're going to want to we're going to float these left, this guy, and then we're going to we'll later add the margin and kind of figure that out. But for now, let's just add a background to see what's going on. So there's those, and then we are let's figure out the font size. So I'm going to add this. So I want to get that font that we're using, this one, because I'm pretty sure that's what we're using for the navigation. So I'm going to take this and trying to figure out where we want to define it. But let's say let's go here. Okay, so we're gonna go. Oh no. Let's go here. We'll go font family. That. Okay, so now you can see I just changed the font for pretty much the whole site because I did it for all of these sections. I said use this font family. So that's what we want. So, and if we needed to change it something else, we could. And it's probably a good idea to do something like this. So in case that wasn't there, it would be using Arial. Anyway, there we go. So we got this font now that we want. I want to make it bigger here, obviously. So if you go to Photoshop, you can see right here it's about like probably 17 pixels, 16 pixels, something like that. So we go to nav A. Okay, font size 16 pixels. So it's a little bigger, not quite the size, I don't think. 18, too big. Probably, I don't know, maybe it's there. So let's try this for now. Background again, let's go here. So I want the background to go all the way to the bottom, so it looks right, kind of like how this one you can see. And then when you hover over, see how it has that cool little thing, this gradient that goes the opposite way. So and it has so it's white. You have a little bit of, I think, a drop shadow type thing going on here. So we're gonna work on getting that. Let's go here. So I'm going to add padding, and I'm going to do on the top and bottom, I want maybe like 5 pixels, and then the sides maybe like 10 pixels, so something like that. So it's getting closer. I still want more, so let's go 6, 7, 8, and that's about there. If I were to go 9, it'd go a little bit too much, I think. So 8 is about right. So there we go. Now I'm going to add that border on the side. So the left side border is going to be this color, white here. That's the color I want. So let's go here, border left. And you can see I'm adding all this stuff onto the actual A tag, because the A tag is the one that we're actually going to be hovering on. So I want it to be where the stuff happens on this. I don't want to add this to this LI because if I hover over it, I can't change the LI, because I need to actually be able to do later on. I'm going to go nav A hover, and I want to be able to change the background on it. So in order to change it to, let's say, black when I hover, I need to do it that way. So this happens. So that's why that's going on. So so that's that. I know the red doesn't quite look right, but we will be changing that. Go over here. We need this other border. So there it is. Got it. I'll take it. Go here. And border right. 1 pixel solid. There. Okay, so now we got the right and left border. Now we don't actually need a background color for the regular state, because it'll just look like that. We're going to want to change this color. which is, yeah, so, okay, color, like so. So it's getting there, it's looking better. We're going to need to add a little bit of a text shadow now. So text shadow, this is a CSS thing again. It's actually kind of a newer feature, which is good, because now you can do shadows on dynamic HTML text. So I think let's try this. 1 pixel, 1 pixel, 3 pixel, and here, you probably can't see it that much. If I were to go like this, black, you can, but we don't want that much. Excuse me. We want it more along these lines, a little bit lighter. We'll try this. Let's see. Oops. So it's nice. You can barely kind of see it. I'm gonna go a little bit darker, like here. A little bit darker here. That's not bad. A little bit darker here. I mean, they're all looking okay, but this might be too dark, like here. I think it's not bad. I'm okay with that, but I'm gonna keep it more along these lines, like here. We'll keep it there for now. Okay, so there's that. That's looking good. I'm missing, I think, this bottom border, it looks like, on this nav wrap. Did I ever add? Okay, I did add it. Because I'm not seeing it, I don't think. Maybe it's just, okay, I guess it's really light. But one thing I am noticing now, it's hard to see. This border is like 1 pixel too low. It's because of this padding. Like, watch, if I go 10, you'll see how these borders now are dropping over, which I don't really want. So it's 1 pixel too much. So the way this is because I have 8 here. So watch. So this is top and bottom border. This is left and right, but I want to go. So I want to go. This is top, right, bottom, left. And if I were to take off 1 pixel from the bottom now, you can see that it fixed it. Kind of. I don't know if you see that, but there you go. Because I wanted to fix that. Where's this guy? Where am I at? Okay, this one. This one's 10 pixels. I kind of don't like it because it's so light. It almost probably might be better if you were to darken it to like this. I mean, probably would. I mean, in a way, that kind of looks better to me. But, you know, who am I to say? I'm going to go back here. So, anyway, that border is there, but it just seems weird. Let me make sure that is, yeah, I mean, that's the color. It's this guy right here. So, yeah, whatevs. Okay, so boom, boom. Now the hover, it's obviously not right. It needs to have that gradient. So I'll get that in a sec. But this is all looking better. Let's do this phone number right now. Let's grab that guy. So phone number. Well, no, okay. Let's finish the navigation. We'll finish the nav. Okay, so Photoshop. Here we are. This is the well. Okay, let's get this. We might as well. We're gonna need to get it. So here it is. I'm just gonna slice it, and I'm making sure not to get that 1 pixel border underneath it. I'm gonna call this BG nav hover or active maybe, because I think that's active. Okay, BG nav active. We'll go with that. Save for web. I'm gonna make it a ping because that's what I want. Save that and select slices. That's good. Here, boom. Images now is where it's going to be. So there it is. I'm going to, over here in the files, just throw that over. Okay. So now that we did that, I can now URL DVD Pro files BG nav active.ping. Okay. There's that. Let's see here. This might work. Oh, there it is. So that, I'm not sure if we need it to actually be doing that when we hover, or if it just should be on an actual link. But I'm going to leave it like that for now. We can tweak it later. And one other thing, when you hover, I don't think we're supposed to have that line underneath it. So if you get rid of that text decoration none, you no longer have that line. We might want that, I don't know, but for now we'll leave it out. Let's do this phone number and this logo. So let's go about here. Let's go header, logo, float left, like so. Then we're going to go header, phone, and we are going to float that right. So there's that. So that's pretty good now. One moment, getting a phone call. I need to take this call. I'm going to cut right back in a second.